just finished getting ready to go to Winter Wonderland. Winter Wonderland is a huge event here in London. It happens in Hyde Park every year, and it's like a mix of German Christmas markets and like a big fun fair. It's a freaking blast, and I cannot wait to go. I wore this cute little Christmas red sweater thing with penguins on it, which are my favorite. I then have some fur-lined leggings, and of course, a red lip, just for the perfect accessory. And I hope I'm dressed warm enough, but regardless, I'm sure it's gonna be a blast. So let's go, let's have fun. Let's Winter Wonderland. It must have literally been written in the stars for us to go to Winter Wonderland when we did, because after a rain-filled afternoon, minutes before we had to leave to go to Winter Wonderland, the weather just cleared up. It was perfect. We opted to go to Winter Wonderland on the first Monday that it was open to the public, and when I tell you that this entire theme park was empty, there was probably like literally only 500 people in the whole park. It was wild. This was my third time going to Winter Wonderland across the last 5 years, and I just never get tired of it. It is so much fun, it's so festive, it's just a great way to kick off the holiday season. Plus, I come from a family who adores theme parks, so this just really fits in with my personal vibe, my family's vibe. It is perfect. This year I had the joy of going with my dad, and we decided to pay a little extra on top of our admission ticket so we could do some fun attractions around the park. First up was the Magical Kingdom, which is a gorgeous ice sculpture museum. I truly have never seen anything like this in my entire life. It was so freaking amazing. The amount of effort and talent and time that must have gone into producing this was just wild. I mean, seriously, the amount of detail in every single piece was just astounding. This was the definition of art. That all said, even though it was beautiful inside, there was one thing that did disappoint me slightly. When it comes to art or museums or any sort of walkthrough situation, I love an interactive bit. And this ice sculpture museum just so happened to have one. Unfortunately, it required the use of stairs. There was no ramp, there was no lift, nothing that would let somebody like me, a wheelchair user and amputee, easily get to the top floor that you had to get to in order to go down the ice slide, which looked like so much fun, but it's fine, I guess. Disappointing, but fine. One day I hope that places like this start to take accessibility seriously, because that would be amazing. Speaking of accessibility, another thing that I found frustrating about the Winter Wonderland experience in general is that I found it really difficult to find accessibility information online. So anytime I went to go book an attraction, it felt like I was combing through pages and pages of the website just trying to get an answer. I was on the attractions page, I was on the frequently asked questions page, I was on the contact page trying to figure out how I could figure this out. It was a mess, but luckily we booked well because all of the things we ended up doing were were mostly accessible. Now, just to be clear, this was not a negative for me, not a downside at all. Still loved the experience, but I just want to say that this museum was very, very cold. They keep it at -10 degrees Celsius, which is 14 degrees Fahrenheit, and oh my goodness, it was freezing in here. Luckily, outside was actually a bit balmy in comparison. I mean, it was still cold, don't get me wrong. Like, I was already kind of cold before we went inside, but then we got outside, and because of the humidity of the day, we were able to defrost a bit. But that's just something to keep in mind if you yourself decide to go to Winter Wonderland after watching this video. Dress warm, my friends, dress warm. Do you see those big bananas? I have a fun little anecdote about those big bananas. Last year, Jack and I went to Winter Wonderland with both of my parents as they were visiting for Christmas, and we spent so much freaking time searching for a game stall that was offering these big bananas. And this year, they were all over the place. So clearly they were a crowd favorite last year. It wasn't just us that wasted lots of time and money trying to win these bananas. Now, am I sad that we didn't win this banana last year? Not at all, because where am I gonna put it in my tiny central London apartment? Nowhere. That's the answer. So I didn't even try this year, but I did enjoy seeing them around. They're really fun and they had a lot of different colors. So that is a fun little anecdote for your day. After doing a bit of exploration, my dad and I made our way to our second attraction of the night, the Ferris Wheel! As I said before, my family loves amusement parks, and unfortunately, thanks to my gastroparesis and vertigo, rides don't necessarily agree with me much anymore. But a Ferris wheel is pretty simple and doesn't cause me a whole lot of digestive distress. So, of course, we made our way to this classic ride and had a blast looking at the view. Both my dad and I have been on the London Eye, which offers amazing views of London. But this one in Hyde Park just was such a unique perspective. Not only did you get an amazing view of Winter Wonderland in its entirety, but you also got to see off into the distance into London as a whole, and it was so beautiful, so amazing, and I'm just really glad that we decided to spend a little extra money to have that experience. That said, this was the moment in the night where I almost died. Let me explain. So unfortunately, I don't have the actual moment on camera, but you can see from this video of me entering onto the Ferris wheel car that the ramp that you had to use to get on there in your wheelchair was not only steep, but it was also metal. And as I had mentioned, it had been raining all day. It was really humid, so that ramp was slick, my friends. It was like a sheet of ice. Dead serious. So luckily going up seemed to be like no problem. Going down, however, I don't know why we didn't plan this out better. I should have gone down backwards with somebody like holding on to me, though again, the ramp was slick, so maybe that wouldn't have been safe either. I don't know if there is a safe way to have done what we did. Maybe it just needs to be constructed a little bit better with accessibility in mind. But you know, that's a lot to ask, isn't it? So instead, I literally shot out of the car. I flew down this ramp, guys. It was so scary. My electric chair is very heavy, and so there was like a whole line of people waiting at the end. Luckily, I didn't hurt anyone to my knowledge. I did hit somebody, which I felt really bad about. I, at this point, am screaming. Profanities are filling the air. Bad things are happening. I'm genuinely afraid for my life, my safety, my well-being. I'm afraid for the well-being of everyone in my vicinity. My dad is freaking out. The ride attendants are freaking out. Everybody is panicking. This is like a runaway train situation. Luckily, the person that I ran into was able to grip me, and like, I don't know if they just like were prepped for this, but they kind of were almost like a stopping block. They helped make sure I didn't go shooting down the next ramp too, which I really appreciated. The funniest part of this whole situation, because of course we have to look back with humor on any sort of traumatic situation, because that's how I cope with my trauma. But there was one funny moment, even in the moment, out of all of this, and that was this other wheelchair user that was waiting to board the ride, I assume after me. I think there was only one wheelchair accessible cart. And after witnessing my little situation, he wasn't scared. He rolled up to me with like awe and like amazement in his eyes and was like, "That was awesome." Dead serious. Same inflection, same sort of tone, everything. That was this guy's response. And I just immediately was like, you know what? It's a good story if nothing else. It was kind of awesome. Super out of control, super scary, but kind of awesome. After the Ferris wheel, it was time for the main event. Bratwurst! Would you judge me if I told you that getting a German sausage at Winter Wonderland was one of my main reasons for wanting to go this year? 100% was. I love these things, and they always taste so good at Christmas markets, like Winter Wonderland. I don't know if it's the semi-authentic aesthetic or what it is, but my goodness, these things are freaking delicious. Per usual for yours truly, I of course caught a little happy food dance on camera after consuming the sausage, because why wouldn't I? And truly guys, that's basically all we did. We looked around, we enjoyed the lights, we enjoyed the atmosphere, we enjoyed the music, and just had ourselves a merry little time. I am so glad that I got to experience this core memory with my dad. He is such a sweetheart, and we just had a really great time together. I can't wait for next year! Guys, oh my goodness, I just got back from Winter Wonderland, and I had the best time. It was so much fun. It's always such a joy. I love the atmosphere there. It's so Christmassy everywhere, and it's just so much fun. I was a little colder than I wanted to be, but you know what? I was still dressed my best. I did the best I could, and it was totally worth being a little cold. So, love that. Thank you guys so much for joining me. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up and leave a comment down below of other future London adventures you want me to bring you along to, because, you know, why not? Let's see what we can get up to. Speaking of upcoming videos, be sure to hit the subscription button and notification bell if you're not already subscribed. There's a lot of fun stuff coming up on this page for the holiday season and into the new year, so hit the buttons, do the things, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.